Angel Reese has put out footage of her working out in the gym. It's just a few seconds, like 9 seconds. Now, remember, Angel Reese has said to us that people are not just watching basketball for one player. They're watching because of me too.
Here we go. While one player rushed a few shaky seconds onto social media, the Indiana Fever did something entirely different. They quietly dropped extensive footage of Caitlin Clark and their new rookies working, really working. We're not talking highlight reels here, we mean crisp passes, sharp cuts, actual defensive drills, all happening with a laser focus just 48 hours after these players joined the team. One side chasing fleeting online buzz, the other side building something solid, something that lasts. The difference wasn't just clear, it was glaring.
So the Indiana Fever lads just released workout footage of their rookies. They finally have released footage of their rookies playing.
Here we go. While one player rushed a few shaky seconds onto social media, the Indiana Fever did something entirely different. They quietly dropped extensive footage of Caitlin Clark and their new rookies working, really working. We're not talking highlight reels here, we mean crisp passes, sharp cuts, actual defensive drills, all happening with a laser focus just 48 hours after these players joined the team. One side chasing fleeting online buzz, the other side building something solid, something that lasts. The difference wasn't just clear, it was glaring.
One person to beat. Tough.
Okay, that's all we get to see. 9 seconds. And in these 9 seconds, we can see that there's some work to be done.
Now, think about this for a second. When you see one athlete seemingly prioritizing quick clicks and camera time, and another completely dialed into the gritty, unseen work of mastering their craft, who do you honestly believe is preparing for the brutal reality of professional competition? Hold on to that thought, because the footage that came out tells a story you absolutely need to hear. A story about two completely different paths being taken right now. If you're riding with the Fever this season, drop "I've got the Fever" in the comments right now. Let's dive in.
Angel Reese, nothing but net. Let's get it! Bang! She finally did it. She shot enough bricks that she was able to build her very first home. Congratulations, all by age 22. Bang! Take a look back brick by brick and how we got here. The jab that no one falls for. Bang! How about the pick and pop where none of them drop? What is she gonna do? Shoot another long two? Bang!
I'll teach a class on where to shoot the basketball from, and you will learn not to shoot from here on day 1, okay? Bang!
When that short 10-second clip hit the internet showcasing a player who gets massive online attention, what struck everyone who actually understands basketball was the total lack of substance. It was a couple of weak-looking shots, some footwork that seemed tentative at best, and zero intensity. Seriously, it felt less like a focused training session aimed at improving for the absolute highest level of the sport, and more like a last-minute scramble to churn out content. It screamed, "Look at me," instead of "I'm getting better." It was a photo op, plain and simple, wrapped up in gym clothes. It wasn't practice, it was performance art for the timeline. The energy wasn't about grinding, it was about generating likes.
Let's just take a look at the hour workout right here. Let's take a look at the workout. So you've got Aaliyah Boston immediately going and talking with Michaela Timpson. Immediately. And there is Yvonne Egem and Bre Hall. So the three of them are here. So running the pick and roll, which hopefully they do run a bit of. Egem, open layup. Okay, Bre Hall with some post work. Spot up shooting. In fairness, that is what Bre Hall, if she does make the team, is going to do. Oh. Did we just see that? Obviously, there is the pick and roll. But did we just see the athletic Michaela Timpson? She just caught a lob. She's out here catching lobs in this workout footage.
But then, the Indiana Fever dropped their footage and it was a completely different universe. This wasn't chopped up and edited for Instagram stories. This was raw, extended video showing real basketball. Caitlin Clark was there, yes, but so were rookies Michaela Timpson, Bre Hall, and Yvonne Egem. And they weren't just present, they were locked in. You saw sharp ball movement, passes threaded with accuracy, defensive rotations being worked on with precision. These weren't players just getting introduced to the team, they were players integrating immediately, showing a fundamental understanding and a willingness to absorb coaching from day one. Caitlin's vision was as sharp as ever, finding angles and creating opportunities that only elite players can see. There were no filters, no fancy edits, just pure, unadulterated basketball being played at a seriously high level, demonstrating actual intent and actual training.
What you're doing in your workout is important, but I gotta say this, who's working with you is also important. I don't know who the young man is working with Angel. I don't know if he's a part of the Sky organization or not. My guess is he's not. My hope is he's not, because there are things that need to be corrected, and instead I'm hearing him give like the nod, giving the praise to what she's doing.
The contrast couldn't have been more dramatic if it was scripted for a movie. One player appears to be fixated on dominating social media feeds, while the other, alongside her new teammates, is clearly focused on dominating box scores and eventually chasing championships. One is trying to build an image, the others are building a foundation for wins. It took only a few seconds of that other player's clip to expose a potentially huge underlying issue, a serious question about the quality of coaching and development happening behind the scenes. Instead of addressing obvious, glaring mechanical flaws, it feels like there's an environment of enablers. People offering empty praise while ignoring the fundamental techniques that desperately need correcting for success in the brutal WNBA.
You hear the guy say, tough, when she puts up a shot, makes the shot, tough. That's, his way of saying that's hot, that's right on, that's knocking it down, that's the way to do it. Whatever you want to say in the way of praise. But he really needs to be correcting Angel's form.
This isn't how you cultivate elite professional athletes. This is how you cultivate influencers who happen to play basketball. It's how you build a social media following that looks impressive until the moment real, unmerciful competition arrives. Real players don't need a pat on the back for basic actions. They need blunt, relentless, often uncomfortable coaching that pushes them past their limits and corrects deeply ingrained bad habits. It seems like this player isn't being prepared to dismantle WNBA defenses. She's being polished to maintain online popularity. And when the bright lights come on for real, when followers and hype offer zero protection on the court, will that approach hold up? Or will the pressure expose everything that's been overlooked?
All to the basket, but yeah. So Caitlin Clark working. Are they all working as rollers? You never know. Maybe some guard-to-guard screen roll action is going to be happening.
Flip the script and you see the Indiana Fever camp operating on another planet entirely. Practices there are deliberate, methodical, and detail-obsessed. Every possession is worked through with purpose, every pick and roll executed with an eye for timing and spacing. Fast breaks aren't chaotic sprints, they're handled with control and efficiency. You saw Yvonne Egem finishing strong at the rim, showing comfort and power in the paint. Bre Hall was honing her mid-range game and working on catching and shooting from three, demonstrating versatility. And Michaela Timpson? She looked absolutely fearless, attacking the basket and catching lobs with the kind of authority you see from seasoned pros, not rookies still finding their footing. Every single drill, every single repetition had a clear intention behind it. These players weren't just running through the motions, they were actively, visibly grinding, pushing towards a collective goal.
Okay, so I want you to just take a look at her form. I'm gonna go back just a little bit. All right, so this arm here, this is her left arm. I'm right-handed, so when I demonstrate something, it's gonna be the opposite for me because I'm right-handed. But you can see this arm right here is pretty good. The shooting arm, which would be her left arm, I always say it's kind of like a waiter carrying a tray. The off arm, which is really supposed to guide the other one, is a problem. As you can see, it totally covers her face. It's crossed over her face, which is odd.
Meanwhile, what did we see elsewhere? A handful of lonely jump shots in an empty gymnasium with no coach visible, no corrections being offered, and no real sense of urgency or competitive fire. One side is meticulously laying the groundwork for future success, brick by painstaking brick. The other seems to be focused on generating quick, fleeting clips for social media highlights. The signs are already here and the real season hasn't even tipped off yet. The direction of travel for these different approaches is already becoming unsettlingly clear for some.
And then her palm is facing her on the inside, which is kind of weird. I don't know how you do that. So it's crossed over her face, over her eyes, as you can see. And this is here, and it's like this on the ball. Like I said, it's the reverse because she's left-handed, but it's just an odd way to shoot the basketball with her elbow all the way out here.
Then there's the issue that jumps out immediately to anyone who spent time in a gym, that player's shooting form. Frankly, it's problematic. Not slightly off, but fundamentally flawed in ways any competent coach would address immediately. Her offhand doesn't just guide the ball, it sweeps across her face like she's doing some kind of awkward dance move mid-shot. Her follow-through is inconsistent, leaving her off balance. Her elbow flares wildly out instead of staying tucked, and her wrist snaps inward rather than driving straight through the ball. If you've ever watched her shots clank off the front rim or spray wide, this flawed, inconsistent mechanic is the undeniable reason why.
Michaela Timpson still goes up and grabs. There's another defender there. You know what? Never doubt the real point guard. Never doubt that. Should be throwing it too much towards the left hand. There is another defender coming in here. So never doubt Caitlin Clark. That's bad by me. But a good catch. A very, very good catch. Getting it down, butting it back up. A very solid catch.
At the WNBA level, these aren't minor details you can ignore. Tiny, seemingly insignificant mechanical flaws are the difference between making a crucial shot under pressure and missing it badly. The fact that this player doesn't seem to be held accountable for correcting these fundamental issues is a ticking time bomb. It's a vulnerability that elite WNBA defenses will exploit relentlessly. They won't care about her follower count, they'll only care about making her uncomfortable and forcing her into those bad habits. Contrast this with Caitlin Clark. Watch her technique. It looks automatic, almost machine-like in its efficiency. Watch her catch a pass and immediately go into her shot. It's clean, crisp, zero wasted motion. There's no hesitation. It's pure instinct, built from countless hours of disciplined, focused, real practice. Not practice curated for the camera, not practice edited for likes. Every action on the floor flows naturally, the result of pure repetition and dedication. She doesn't need the theatrics or the online validation. Her fundamentals are sharp enough to do all the talking for her.
That new Angel Reese McDonald's commercial where she goes nothing but that. No, that commercial took weeks to make, man. Cause bang! McDonald's be trolling me at this point, cause this is everything but that. Bang! Again! No, why? What is she doing? I care what none of y'all say. She's my favorite hooper. Look at this soft touch. It's like a pillow. Bang! You know that Caitlin Clark was more likely to make a three-pointer than Angel Reese was to make a layup? Yeah, that's a real stat. Bang! Just kidding, but it's close though. Last time, 3-ball, butter pecan. Bang!
At the WNBA level, these aren't minor details you can ignore. Tiny, seemingly insignificant mechanical flaws are the difference between making a crucial shot under pressure and missing it badly. The fact that this player doesn't seem to be held accountable for correcting these fundamental issues is a ticking time bomb. It's a vulnerability that elite WNBA defenses will exploit relentlessly. They won't care about her follower count, they'll only care about making her uncomfortable and forcing her into those bad habits. Contrast this with Caitlin Clark. Watch her technique. It looks automatic, almost machine-like in its efficiency. Watch her catch a pass and immediately go into her shot. It's clean, crisp, zero wasted motion. There's no hesitation. It's pure instinct, built from countless hours of disciplined, focused, real practice. Not practice curated for the camera, not practice edited for likes. Every action on the floor flows naturally, the result of pure repetition and dedication. She doesn't need the theatrics or the online validation. Her fundamentals are sharp enough to do all the talking for her.
I will say, it's good to see them working out. You got Aaliyah Boston giving advice to Michaela Timpson. I would assume Michaela Timpson's going to make this team. I would very much assume Timpson's going to make it because she is a rim runner. She's a rim runner with super FSU who weren't bad. Like, I know obviously FSU weren't great with Tania Latson leaving, but they weren't bad at all. They really weren't. And you're looking at, again, footage with them run the pick and roll. I like that. I like the slip pass from Caitlin. I do like that.
When you watch Caitlin Clark operate, you are witnessing the product of genuine high-level skill development. Precision, fluidity, mastery, these are the hallmarks. Compare that to the shaky, clearly staged, almost amateur-looking gym sessions where the primary objective appears to be securing a viral post rather than perfecting the shot. The disparity is frankly staggering. At the end of the day, the narrative is simple. One player seems preoccupied with chasing a moment, while the others are clearly focused on building something lasting, potentially a dynasty. One is constructing an image, the others are constructing a legacy.
And to be fair, that is a good catch. That is a real good catch. But again, not saying too much about that. Being able to catch that on balance and go and finish, we'll take that. We'll take that from Michaela Timpson.
When you watch Caitlin Clark operate, you are witnessing the product of genuine high-level skill development. Precision, fluidity, mastery, these are the hallmarks. Compare that to the shaky, clearly staged, almost amateur-looking gym sessions where the primary objective appears to be securing a viral post rather than perfecting the shot. The disparity is frankly staggering. At the end of the day, the narrative is simple. One player seems preoccupied with chasing a moment, while the others are clearly focused on building something lasting, potentially a dynasty. One is constructing an image, the others are constructing a legacy.
Now here, she catches the pass, and then she shoots the basketball. Let me back it up. She's still shooting too low. So she drags that foot. It's interesting how she drags that foot. She does that a lot. Anyway, she drags the foot. And then she has the ball. It's too low. It's too low here. This offhand still looks it's a little odd the way it is. But continuing. Now I want you to look at this. How different this looks from...
The Indiana Fever players aren't there to perform for social media feeds. They are there to win basketball games, and they are putting in the genuine, hard, unglamorous work required to make that happen. Caitlin Clark and these new rookies are laying down a solid, unshakable foundation that can withstand the grueling demands of a WNBA season, the physicality, the travel, the relentless pressure. As for the other player, she might be collecting likes and comments right now, but when the season truly gets underway, hashtags won't make contested layups and viral clips won't hit game-winning jumpers. The reality of the WNBA is brutal and unforgiving.
We need defense. Defense, good hands, and running. That's all we need. That's all we need out of the power forward. But yeah, it's good to see again the rookies are in there.
The Indiana Fever players aren't there to perform for social media feeds. They are there to win basketball games, and they are putting in the genuine, hard, unglamorous work required to make that happen. Caitlin Clark and these new rookies are laying down a solid, unshakable foundation that can withstand the grueling demands of a WNBA season, the physicality, the travel, the relentless pressure. As for the other player, she might be collecting likes and comments right now, but when the season truly gets underway, hashtags won't make contested layups and viral clips won't hit game-winning jumpers. The reality of the WNBA is brutal and unforgiving.
No one even guards her. Come on! Don't disrespect her. Of course they guard her in the paint when she's playing volleyball. Look at that! Bang! Of course they're gonna guard her in the paint when she's playing ping pong with the backboard. Not gonna let her have all the fun. Bang! Of course they're gonna guard her when she's flopping like a fish out of the water. Give her oxygen, man. Bang! And of course they're gonna try to guard her in the paint when she's stat batting for her own double-doubles. Am I right? Bang! The commenter may be right. There are situations where, and indeed, you may not have to guard her at all.
There's no need for artificial hype or flashy theatrics from this Fever squad. Their rookies, like Michaela Timpson, are already showcasing exactly what it takes to thrive at the professional level: quiet, relentless work ethic, and laser-sharp focus on the details. Aaliyah Boston, who is rapidly becoming the heart and soul of this franchise, is already stepping into a critical mentoring role, offering invaluable guidance to players like Michaela. And what's incredible is that Michaela isn't just passively listening, she's actively integrating that advice, demonstrating her coachability and fierce desire to improve. You see her flying up and down the court with purpose, showcasing smart decision-making on rim runs and a terrifying level of efficiency around the basket. There are no staged highlights here, no attempt to create a fake glamorous image, just raw, talented athletes committing to building real careers through disciplined, tough practices. While some other players seem more concerned with generating online clout and staying relevant in the social media algorithm, the Fever players are grinding it out in silence, building something tangible, something real. And when the dust settles at the end of the season, it won't be the number of clicks or the best photo filter that determines success. It will be this kind of relentless hard work, the kind that happens long after the cameras are off, that decides who truly thrives and who unfortunately fades away after a season or two.
Paint, you must, because you will look like the defensive player of the year against her every single time. Here we go, Exhibit A, long 2 on her own island. Bang! Don't guard her. Hand down, man down, butter pecan. Bang! Call her jump shot Chernobyl because you can't go anywhere near it. Bang! It's radioactive, radioactive. Bang! Watch possessions like this, and I think maybe, in fact, you don't need to guard her at all. Hopscotch in the paint? That's crazy.
Think about what truly matters in professional basketball. Good hands, the ability to run the floor tirelessly, and raw, unadulterated athleticism combined with skill. As one coach might put it, we will take good hands, the ability to run, and some athleticism. That's all we need. Michaela Timpson embodies this simple truth. She doesn't need gimmicks or a carefully curated online persona to catch anyone's eye. Just a fundamental, clean, efficient play is enough to show her immense value. Catching the ball cleanly in stride, maintaining perfect balance through contact, and finishing strong at the rim. These are the basic building blocks, the absolute essentials that coaches look for in a promising professional rookie. Michaela checks every single one of those boxes without needing to put on any kind of show for the cameras. Strong, reliable hands, quick, decisive cuts off the ball, real explosive athletic ability married with coordination. These aren't traits that get you likes online, they're the traits that earn you minutes on the court in the WNBA. Now hold that image of fundamental soundness and compare it back to the other player. Her movements often look less fluid, sometimes even clumsy. Her control with the ball seems shaky under duress. Her fundamentals, particularly her shooting mechanics, look barely sustainable, already on the verge of breaking down even in low-pressure settings.
Angel Reese is now quoted as saying, "I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person." She refuses to say Caitlin Clark's name. "It's because of me too, and I want you to realize that."
Touched on before the shooting form issues, specifically the wrist crossing over. As any coach would drill into you relentlessly, from this, we've talked about this before, your wrist should not be crossing. In a league as ferociously competitive as the WNBA, raw energy alone isn't enough. It has to be channeled, controlled, and paired with exquisite skill. That's why it was so frustrating to see energetic players like Celeste Taylor seemingly underutilized in previous seasons under a different system. It felt like a genuine waste of potential athleticism and speed. The old approach felt tied to a slower, more methodical style, one that often prioritized pounding the ball into the low post instead of unleashing the dynamic athleticism and pace of the roster. But those days appear to be dissolving rapidly. Now, with a revitalized game plan taking shape under new leadership, dynamic athletes like Michaela Timpson, players who combine agility with real game-changing explosiveness, are finally going to have the wide-open runway they need to truly shine. Because in the modern game, especially at the elite level, it's the versatile, fast-paced, fundamentally sound players who don't just survive the leap to the pros. They are the ones who will ultimately define the future of the league.
Sorry, young lady. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody would be watching the WNBA additionally for you. This is all about Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is bringing the money to the game, the planes to the game, the TV viewership. The WNBA is on fire because of Caitlin Clark.
At the absolute highest level of professional sports, technique isn't just about looking good when you're fresh and feeling confident. Your mechanics, your fundamentals, they have to hold up not just at 100%, but when you're completely exhausted, your legs are burning, and the game is on the line in the final seconds. It's easy to appear polished and fundamentally sound when you're just going through the motions in a quiet gym. But true greatness, the kind that wins championships, shows up when your body is screaming for rest, the pressure is unbearable, and the clock is ticking down. That's precisely why athletes like Caitlin Clark and Michaela Timpson dedicate countless hours to hammering their fundamentals into pure automatic instinct. Every single movement, every dribble, every pass, every shot must be second nature, ingrained so deeply it happens without conscious thought, especially when the pressure cooker is on max. The other player, the one focused on online fame, she's carrying far too many loose habits, too many technical flaws that are absolutely going to haunt her when the real games begin. Her form and mechanics might look passable in a carefully edited social media clip or a low-intensity workout, but the very moment fatigue sets in during a real WNBA game, when the defense is draped all over her and the consequences of a missed shot are huge, those deeply embedded flaws will be exposed for the entire world to see. Sloppy mechanics don't just cause missed shots, they can systematically destroy your entire game under pressure. Players like Caitlin and Michaela are built for this moment because their skills have been forged and battle-tested in the fire of relentless, disciplined training. The other player? Right now, it looks like she's playing on borrowed time, relying on hype that will quickly evaporate when faced with true professional scrutiny. That awkward crossed-arm shooting form we talked about, for the player who seems more interested in online fame, it's not just a minor technical glitch you can easily smooth over. It is a fundamental, massive red flag for anyone evaluating a professional shooter. Shooting is the ultimate precision skill in basketball, and if you start with a broken base, a foundation that's fundamentally unstable, no amount of casual practice reps or online validation can save you when the going gets tough. When fatigue inevitably sets in during the grind of a WNBA season, even players with textbook perfect form struggle mightily to maintain consistency. If your very foundation, the starting point of your shot, is already unstable and flawed, it's essentially game over when the real pressure and exhaustion hit. Your shot is going to crumble. Attempting to build range or consistency on a flawed shooting base is like trying to stack a massive skyscraper on quicksand. It might stand for a little while in perfectly calm conditions, but the absolute first sign of stress, the first earthquake of real pressure or fatigue, and the entire structure will inevitably collapse. That other player can spend endless hours filming fancy, staged gym sessions designed solely to generate content. But here's the brutal truth. In the WNBA, nobody is handing out trophies or contracts for who posted the most workout reels online. They're going to be watching relentlessly to see who can still hit critical shots when their lungs are burning, their legs are screaming, and every single possession determines the outcome of a professional game. And based on what we're seeing right now, both in terms of apparent work ethic and fundamental technique, it doesn't look promising for the player prioritizing online buzz over on-court craft. The disconnect is too significant. If you make the decision to publicly label yourself a high-level athlete, someone aiming for the pinnacle of the sport, then every single second of basketball-related footage you choose to post online effectively becomes an audition. No one is forcing these players to put their workouts out there for public consumption, but when you do, you have to accept that your flaws are also going on full, undeniable display for anyone who cares to look, especially those who understand the game at a deep level. Technique is the most brutally honest judge in sports. It doesn't lie, it doesn't flatter or bend the truth based on your popularity. Every weak shot, every sloppy pivot, every single missed correction from a coach shows itself with painful clarity to those who know exactly what to look for in elite mechanics. That other player might capture headlines and massive attention with her popularity, her personality, and her off-court endeavors. But at the absolute professional level, the WNBA, it is unwavering discipline, rock-solid fundamentals, and a relentless, obsessive attention to micro details that ultimately forge and sustain careers. And eventually, inevitably, all those missing pieces, all those overlooked flaws, they will absolutely catch up to you. The bright lights, the social media buzz, the carefully filtered image, they can only hide poor fundamental form and shaky mechanics for so long before the harsh reality of professional competition relentlessly exposes the truth, before the unforgiving nature of the game itself delivers its final undeniable verdict on who put in the real work and who was content with just looking the part. And right now at the Indiana Fever practices, you can already see that sharp, undeniable divide in plain sight. Caitlin Clark isn't relying on carefully curated footage designed for viral distribution or chasing fleeting online moments of fame. Her fundamentals, honed over decades, are speaking for themselves, loudly and clearly. Michaela Timpson is demonstrating day in and day out that she isn't merely an impressive athlete. She is fundamentally sound, incredibly coachable, and already showing that she's ready to make a real, tangible contribution from game one. These players aren't chasing ephemeral fame or trying to build an online brand separate from their game. They are focused entirely on building real, lasting impact on the court, the kind that shows up in the win column and earns respect from opponents. And when the real season commences, when every single possession is a desperate battle, every defensive rotation matters, and every small mistake carries a heavy price. It will inevitably be the athletes who embrace the quiet, unglamorous, thankless work behind the scenes who will rise to the top. The ones who made the difficult choice to prioritize building their actual basketball skills over just building their social media brand. The ones who stayed in the gym long after the cameras stopped rolling, long after the hype died down, putting in the repetitions that truly matter. The ones exactly like Caitlin Clark and Indiana's new hungry rookies who are clearly focused on leaving a genuine, undeniable legacy on the court, not just a temporary trending hashtag online. If you are excited to see the Indiana Fever's journey this season, to see the culmination of this kind of dedication and hard work, make sure you comment "I've got the Fever" down below right now. Let's go. And seriously, subscribe and turn on all notifications so you never miss out on the unfiltered truth about the league. Click the video on the screen now and we will see you in the next one.